If you paid $1,500 for this shoe right here, I apologize. But that sucks, and you should have waited. What is going on, you guys? Dan, you're back with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite sneaker releases of the year. If not, I think, potentially the sneaker of the year. Let's get started. So rather than doing a full unboxing video, I feel kind of bad skipping out on that part, but I was just too excited to have these in hand, and a little bit of backstory about this sneaker. So going back to my early childhood, I, never grew up with Jordans in the house, but my family, being from the south side of Chicago, have always been Bulls fans, and as such, I've always been surrounded by this legend of Michael Jordan. The source of my sneaker obsession really comes down to Michael Jordan's autobiography, and that is For the Love of the Game. This is a very small book, but it's full of beautiful photography and images throughout his career as a Bull, on the Olympic team, as a baseball player, and up until his retirement. So full of beautiful photography, and there is one page in particular during his rookie year where he talks about whether or not it was the shoes. It's not just the shoes. That's just, it's a great tagline. It's a great bit of marketing. It was never just the shoes. This page in particular showcased every signature shoe he wore and ones that he didn't wear on the court. Jordan 1 through 14 is what they would eventually be known as. At the time, though, 84, 85, when these were coming out, these were just Jordans. Oh, the new Jordans are coming out next year. This is the new whatever. It wasn't as specific as we look at it now. But as a kid, looking at the crazy revenue numbers, that didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Looking at the images of some of the coolest sneakers I've ever seen, I wanted them so badly, like extremely, like more than anything else I wanted. I would literally sit there and pick out the ones that I wanted, and over the years there's been a handful of shoes on this list that I've actually owned and or, bought, sold, whatever. The one shoe that has always been my favorite on this list is always that first one. That's the Chicago Jordan 1 that we know of. Then I wanted to talk about 2013. So 2012 is when I started collecting sneakers. 2013, January of 2013 specifically. In this replacement box here, I have one of the earliest memories of sneaker collecting. In January of 2013, almost 10 years ago, as of the recording of this video, my brother and I camped out outside of our local mall, something that was very common at the time, but it's not very common anymore. You hardly ever see people camping out overnight or like getting there at like 4 o'clock in the morning like we did. We were one of the first 20 people in line for this particular shoe. Now at the same time, the Knicks colorway, Jordan 1s, the OG with the tags and everything, had come out the same day. Some people wanted those, but most people were looking for this shoe right here. This is the 2013 Chicago colorway, and as you can see, it's not the same shoe that I'm going to be talking about. This is the one with the Jumpman logo on the heel and the Jumpman logo on the tongue. The material on this shoe is absolutely garbage. I call it McDonald's leather because it's plasticky, and over the years I'm surprised it's held up this much, but this is a shoe I don't wear this size anymore, so I just keep it for the memories. 2013, I'm kind of in my first year of collecting sneakers. My brother and I are camping out like super early in the morning. We're doing a little camp out. I guess you can call it a camp out, but we stood in line from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. just bullshitting, talking to people, and waiting to buy a pair of shoes. And I'm guilty of partaking in the sneaker culture that doesn't do that kind of shit anymore, which is totally fine with me. It was 4 a.m. and in January, it was freezing cold. I wouldn't do it again, and I've almost never done that. The only other time I've done that is to stand in line for the Mosh Southside Runners. That brings me to this particular shoe right here. You guys have seen images of the mismatched Jordan 1 box. You've seen the little sale tag on the side label there. And one of the coolest details, I think, is this receipt from Sandy Bros Sports Depot in Covington, Kentucky. Now, the idea behind the shoe is that it was a lost pair in the inventory of some mom and pop shop that has since closed down. So these shops, I hate to say it, but it's funny that Jordan Brand did this because most of these shops have gone out of business thanks to Finish Line, Foot Locker, Champs, all these like big box sneaker retailers. Most of these shops have gone out of business, but nevertheless, it's a cool story behind the shoe release. And then you've got the shoe itself. Now, I've gone ahead and laced them up with the white laces because white laces look incredible in the Chicago Jordan 1. You've got the lost and found, Chicago reimagined, the Jordan 1 basketball shoe from '86. Whatever you want to call this shoe, it stands as one of the best Jordan sneakers ever made. Those of you who know the Chicago colorway, you've got the traditional color blocking, the black swoosh, black wings logo, black along the heel collar, red paneling over white. You've got the white midsole with the red outsole, but you've got signs of age, which I think is incredible. So white oxidation along the outsole. You got some leather cracking along the collar, which visually it's very close to what 1985-84 pairs of Jordan 1s look like after about 35 years of sitting in a shoebox. Obviously, they don't feel like they're falling apart. It's just visually, and there's a little bit of texture there. It's really well done. And you've got a little bit of oxidation, a little bit of yellowing along the tongue, which gives it a nice contrast to the white laces. Red Nike Air tag along the top there. White insole with the red Nike Air logos on the inside, but I put the shoe tree in there for the sake of the video. And the midsole has a little bit of a yellow tinge to it, which also gives it that aged look. So there you guys have it. It's a brief overview. Another detail you might miss if you're not paying attention is slight leather cracking. It's, again, another texture on the white paneling. The leather is not actually cracking. It's just a little bit wrinkled, but it does give it that textured, aged look that the whole lost and found theme is going for. So overall, what can I say about this that hasn't already been said a million times? I think this is the sneaker of the year. I think this is one of the best releases we've seen in a long time. I think it's a very interesting concept because it pays homage to that old sneaker culture, that the idea of finding a shoe that you weren't expecting to find, something you would find in the back of a stock room that's been left around for 30 years that nobody has bothered to look through. This is back in the day before computers and the internet were so readily available for retailers, and they just went based off of what was in the books, and if something slipped through the cracks, it slipped through the cracks. One thing I really appreciate is seeing the prices of this shoe come down as the release date approaches. Now, they've been pushing back this release date. There have been a lot of pairs out there. I got mine through StockX, but specifically because I wanted it at a price that I wanted to pay rather than $1,500 that I saw right out the gate. So if you paid $1,500 for this shoe right here, I apologize. But that sucks, and you should have waited. Patience saves pockets, and I did not pay anywhere near that amount, thankfully. I paid an amount that I was comfortable paying, and for a shoe like this, one of my favorite shoes ever made, to have a brand new pair is fantastic, and I'm really thankful to be able to do that. The 2015 Chicago Jordan 1s, I actually ended up not buying those right away and regretted it because later on the prices would reach that $1,500 price point. Completely asinine to pay that amount for a Jordan 1 that's just a regular general release. This one, on the other hand, I still wouldn't pay $1,500 for this shoe. I'd pay a couple $100s for it, but not $1,500. I hope the prices continue to drop. I hope more people are able to get these for retail. I hope that anyone who wants a pair can get their hands on a pair, and I hope to get a second pair because I'm going to be wearing this a whole lot over the next, until it falls apart. From now until the shoe falls apart beneath my foot, I'm going to continue wearing this as often as I can, whenever the situation is appropriate. Like I said, this is one of my favorite shoes of all time. As I explained earlier, it's very special to me. This particular shoe is very special to me. So that 6 or 7-year-old Andrew that was daydreaming about owning a pair of Jordan sneakers that he saw in a book somewhere, there you go, bud. You did it again. And this is not a life goal of mine. I don't feel like I really achieved anything. I bought a pair of shoes that was for sale. Not that crazy, but it's nice to be able to look back and see where my sneaker obsession began, and that is what makes this shoe so special to me. Is since the beginning, since before I could afford a pair of Jordans, this was always the one. And there you have it. That's the Jordan 1 Lost and Found. My thoughts, my opinions. Since you made it to the end of this video, let me answer a few questions that I always get in the comment section. Go true to size. Wear your true size with Jordan 1s. Look out for the details that I pointed out if you're looking for a real pair rather than an inauthentic pair. You can go through StockX if you feel comfortable doing that. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about the Jordan 1 Lost and Found or Chicago Reimagined or whatever the heck you want to call this shoe. Leave a like, subscribe if you're interested in that sort of thing, and you can follow me on Instagram at Drew Reviews. That's where I post most of the time when I'm not making videos, because videos are obviously longer format. Photos are so much easier. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.